Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Argo AMA number 5. I am here with Jay Shin and Wan Biam Kim, and I'm very excited to have them answer the questions that the community has asked me and are pondering on. And I'm really excited for us to discuss today and garner more information about these questions. So cheers for both of you for coming on and doing this. So
Thank you.
absolutely. So let's go to the first question. So could you give the community an update as to Ledger hardware wallet progress for the Argo mainnet? Where is this at? And what's holding this security delivery up? And what is the estimated completion date?
Well, we have done our part in their requirements to bring this up, and it's actually up to the Ledger team to release their completed work. But they're quite busy at the moment, but we are in constant communication with them to remind what they have to do. So just stay focused on that.
Okay, so for the community, Argo has done their part. Don't worry about that. It's basically now Ledger, and they're staying, and Argo is actively staying involved in reminding them. So remember that. So should Argo Light be considered an Argo tool, or is that in the past?
Well, one of our main developers, Bernardo, is the lead developer behind Argo Light, and it's not in active development at the moment, but it doesn't mean that it is abandoned. He's working on our DeFi and for mainnet focused work at the moment, but once he's done, he will go back to the Argo Light project, and we have a number of business integrations in mind as well.
Great. Okay. So now here's also another important question that the community has in regards to updates. Can we update the Ergo page on CoinMarketCap to convey all of the major updates that have recently been developed to a more broader audience?
Yeah, the team is working on that. We've been doing a lot of updates to major information sites. We do really frequent updates on Zangle. We just did an RSS feed integration with crypto.com. And Coin Marketplace is another place that we're working on. And sometimes it's not as easy, and we need to knock on a lot of doors, but we are working on it.
Of course, awesome to hear. So can we see then a tab dedicated to GenPay on our CoinMarketCap page, and also our exchanges where our tokenomics are listed?
Well, GenPay is it's a wallet, a payment wallet, right? For dApps, and it's not a token name, right? But we'll see what we can be listed on CMC as far as if we have a token generating platform called Silvermine. So it's a token as a service. Now, when customers generate tokens on that on that service, they have the option of doing whatever they want to do with those tokens. And that is just like if they wanted to do an ICO, or they want to do an IEO. That's up to the customer themselves, or keep it as a utility token for swapping for within their intra-company sites. We've noticed a lot of companies who have traditional point or mileage system looking to convert that into a token-based system. It just makes more sense because imagine if you're a bakery chain and you are giving points to your customers for buying bread goods, and it's a well-known brand. If they take that to the metaverse, then it makes more sense to have tokens rather than points where you can't do that. So there's a lot of strategy moving, and a lot of companies are contacting Blocko about NFTs, tokens, and so forth. So we'll have a lot more information update as it develops. And we are also trying to be mindful of the regulatories and rules and regulations based on tokens and so forth in each region. So it's not a very black and white where you generate tokens and you list it on an exchange.
Of course, it's a very complicated system. That's absolutely true. So let me ask you this then. Can the team outline ideas as to how fees generated by dApps will be used for? So, for example, sustainability funds and to support the Argo ecosystem projects along the lines of, let's say, a launchpad or a launchpad dApp, let's say?
Yeah. So we've been kind of looking at this where, the block producers are, generating Argo, but we don't know where they're using that. The dApps, when we did the incubation funds, if there's a business model there wasn't a revenue share, but we are looking into more traditional financing where we're actually, doing some equity investments and some returns, or even revenue share on the surface on the services that they're looking to create. So, we are also partnering with some VCs, and the VCs have their way of getting their return on investment as well. So we are looking at all avenues from this, and yes, the launchpad is a great idea, and that's something that our team is working on.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing with that. I really appreciate that. Now, let me ask you about Ergo Gem. How does minting and burning of Ergo Gem necessarily benefit Ergo holders, let's say?
Well, basically, yeah, it's Ergo Gem is going to be one of our killer dApps, which means that it's going to boost major activities on our mainnet and imbue another utility for our token as well, aside from enterprise users and others. So I think it's going to help bringing a lot of value into the token itself. Basically, we are looking into a symbiotic relationship between our mainnet and their Argo Gem payment app.
Awesome.
Yeah, and Ergo Gem, I think we've done that about a year and a half ago with games. And what we learned back then was that Ergo Gem is minted when there is a deposit of KRW. 1 KRW equaled 1 Argo Gem. Once an Argo Gem was redeemed for a KRW, that Argo Gem was burned. So it was one-to-one relationship that we had, that we controlled, and I think we're taking a lot of that knowledge forward to this new era.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing that. So as Ergo's main focus has been primarily enterprise adoption and the leveraging of its technology for large organizations, will we see Ergo moving more towards a typical public blockchain model in respect to expanding and focusing on, let's say, DEXs, lending apps, social fi solutions, gaming, and NFTs?
Well, I think it's not per se that our focus itself has been shifted, but the whole definition of enterprise and what our customers desire have changed as well. I mean, few years ago, most of our customers have been talking about document management, identity management, basically a lot of back office stuff that can be helped by adopting the blockchain technology, but a bit different from what has been going on in the mainnet. But it has been changed. Now they are looking at things like DEX, DeFi, SocialFi, NFT, and others as well. So we are developing our tools and our ecosystem to better work with our customers and their enterprise as well. So it's not that our focus has been shifted from enterprise, but their enterprise and enterprises are now focusing more on the topics that you mentioned as well. And we are working to better equip our ecosystem to work with them.
Yeah, from Blocko's perspective, we've noticed a lot of interest in the technology, but not necessarily from a crypto perspective. And this is where I want to explain is that all this time, we live in the crypto space. We look at the whole lingo, DeFi, P2E, NFT, DEX, and everything that's sort of within the crypto community, which I believe compared to the entire consumer market is quite small still. So one of the things that we've been doing a lot of is looking at models where it's B to B to C, meaning that B, meaning Blocko, works with an enterprise, B, customer, to reach their consumer, right? So one of the easy things that we've been doing, and the Blocko XYZ and the CCCV team have been really great at, is creating NFT coupons. And the coupons itself are being, sort of animated so that, it's a box of chicken. You see the chicken in there, and then there's a secret QR code you can push, and then it's tied to a delivery company. And when you scan it, the delivery company recognizes that QR code and then, delivers the chicken. Once the chicken's been delivered, that NFT with a chicken box, the box is empty. So it's kind of a fun thing that way. There's another, big bakery chain in Korea that we're doing NFTs with, and more companies are looking to integrate NFT as a not just artwork, but as a utility, something fun that can be used offline, right? So there's but from a mass adoption perspective, this is why CCCV works, is that CCCV, you don't need to understand what crypto wallet is. It's a custodial wallet. It's already integrated into your account, and the account is opened by SSO, your social network like KakaoTalk or Naver or Google. And that way, you can actually not have the complications of tying a MetaMask and buying a token from an exchange and converting it and buying it. All that is gone, right? So when you look at adoption of NFT, and I was at the Money Show yesterday, and there was all these students, high school students, junior high school students. There's a lot of business people that walk around and they look at CCCV and they're like, oh, can I just buy it and with a credit card and hold on to it because I like it? Yeah, it's all that. You have coupons. We'll send it to your account. And if you graduate from this college, you can have an NFT certificate of that, of that college that identifies you as a person that actually went there versus somebody else. A lot of influencers are using CCCV as a method of, authentic links, and people can actually come and say, well, is this link really my influencer that I follow on the official link list? And that verification system, is great because it thwarts any type of imposters and so forth, right? So I think, what I'm trying to say, long-winded, is that in order to make mass adoption happen, we got to make all of this really, really simple.
Yes.
And in the past, enterprises, we try to complicate the story by trying to explain blockchain to people who didn't understand or did not want to understand blockchain. All that doesn't matter anymore. If you want to go after the mass market doesn't care. The mass market only cares about the benefits you get from using that service and product. And that's where we're focusing on. We're making it fun. We're making it transparent. We're making it in a way that we bring the mass consumers into the crypto space without them actually knowing that this is the crypto space. And I think that is the trend that's going to happen. And, this metaverse, when people go in there with their, Oculus Quest, it's going to be like seamless, like any game that you play today, so.
Exactly. You need it to be fun, you need it to be seamless, and you need it to be transparent. When I say seamless, I mean, even today, excuse me, in 2022, it's very difficult to onboard people, specifically older people who are not well adept with technology. And even people in my age, in their 20s, if they're not adept with cryptocurrency, it can be very, very, very intimidating to buy something on this exchange, then send it to buy something else on another exchange. And if you miss a character, you lose everything on a wallet address. And there's so many different there's so many things that can go wrong, that it's so complicated that a simplistic method is the way to create mass adoption. So let me ask you this then about Argo and GenPay. So Ergo is needed to charge GenPay. However, it costs more than 30,000 KRW to transfer Ergo from the Upbit exchange to the wallet. Few people will take this inconvenience and use it. In order to have lower fees, all exchanges must be replaced with ARC tokens. Are there any plans for this?
Well, we are talking to various exchanges, and I don't want to put any timelines because people are going to look at this as an investment. This is not an investment advice or anything like that. We are looking at, in the long run, I think we've said this in the past, is that we want Ergo mainnet tokens to be listed on the exchanges. And right now we are speaking with exchanges about this, and we think we are very close to listing Ergo mainnet token in one of the large exchanges.
That's fantastic news. That's great to hear.
And hopefully with that, the fees would be much lower. And the way that Upbit charges for Ergo transfer fee, we have no say in that. So it's what the exchanges do to make their ROI, right? So that fee doesn't come to us. So
absolutely. Okay, awesome. And I appreciate the transparency and letting the community know that. So thank you so much. So here's a question. It's very open-ended, I feel like, but I do think it's very important. What will be done to get closer to institutional investors?
Right now we are speaking with a lot of VC funds that are very interested in Ergo, looking at what happened with many other projects and us being listed on Coinbase and crypto. And us, I think, that proved how clean our books were, accounting wise, which I think makes us a target for a lot of, companies to partner with us. And a lot of these VCs or funds have institutional buyers. So we're, actively going to conferences, meeting, and trying to get them to look at purchasing Argo for an investment.
Awesome. That's
I think we can actually mention the recent Coinbase custody listing of Argo as well, where it will be much more friendlier to a lot of institutional investors. That's what I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yep. There's that Coinbase just listed us on their custody program. So I think that's good news.
That's fantastic news. That's major news. And I think that can't be overstated. That's massive news to be part of that program. So let me ask you this then, in regards to the notion of companies, since we're on that topic. So will Blocko's IPO come out this year?
We are planning to IPO next year. I think there's a lot of things that are happening that we need to, make sure that that we comply with all the regulatory requirements, all the necessary components. So our plan is to do it early next year.
That's great to hear. So in your opinion, what will be done to attract developers to build on Ergo?
I think we are building a name for ourselves, and with Blocko XYZ and CCCV, the NFT service. And I think a lot of big companies are looking, are already doing couponing and a lot of their entertainment NFTs on CCCV platform. Now with the addition of GenPay wallets, Silvermine with token generations, we're going to try to see if we can create APIs there as well, so that developers can connect and easily utilize their services onto our service. So it's kind of a relationship that we can make. So aside from that, we have the incubation funds, funds that we're looking to increase the pool with VCs. So we're doing a lot of things so that, developers can look at us and say, hey, that's a one-stop shop to actually get the dApps built as well as noticed by a lot of consumers.
Absolutely, that's wonderful to hear. So you brought up Coinbase custody before, and that's a major move in the right direction in regards to institutional validity on a grandiose scale. I can't overstate that enough. Like that can't be overstated. So, given the recent Coinbase listing of Ergo, are we basically then given specific direct connections with their subsidiaries and network because of this?
It's one of those things where, once you get listed, you have to sort of be really active on trying to, pry and look at what all the other business units are doing in Coinbase, right? So we're actively trying to make new contacts, have one contact introduce us to the next contact. And yeah, we are looking to leverage a lot of what Coinbase has, but it's not always centralized into like, one place where they take you everywhere. It's more like we have to figure out who's who. So yeah, we're working on it, and we're doing that for all the other exchanges as well. So our top priority is to get as much exposure as possible, and we're trying to do that, with all the exchanges.
Absolutely. So let me ask you this then about Blocko and DocuSign. Can the partnership between Blocko and DocuSign be seen as an opportunity for Blocko to gain experience with the DocuSign product and then necessarily create its own product?
Well, I think we've learned kind of a hard lesson a couple of years back when we tried to create a solution from scratch that competed with a global brand, right? It really, the amount of resources, unless the solution is a killer solution and the incumbent solution doesn't have any of the features, aside from that, it's really difficult. So I think with DocuSign, we are already reselling it. We are looking to integrate our, DTT, our TSA product onto it and make it better to meet some of the regional regulatory requirements. But to create something like DocuSign from scratch, I think anyone can, agree that that would be an endeavor that a company like Blocko should not go into, because we are not the expert of, electronic document management, but we are expert in blockchain, and that's where we will add the value.
Absolutely. So then let me ask you this: we had the incident with Tether almost losing its peg a couple of days ago. It went down to 92 cents. So there's a question that a community member asked: would you consider pursuing USDC listings instead of Tether?
Absolutely. I think when we had the USDT pair, USDC wasn't around. So as more, as what it makes sense for now and future, we will try to make the adjustments and pursue that.
Awesome. Thank you for that transparency. It's very important regarding USDC. So let me ask you this let me ask you this. So are there plans to collaborate with charities to sell NFTs?
Yeah, I believe CCCB is already doing that. They partner with the museums, and the proceeds went to the museum to restore a lot of the Korean artifacts.
Awesome.
And they're continually to push out the NFT into various different sectors, and charities was definitely one of them.
That's awesome. That's great to hear. It's great to hear to give back to the community and give back to cultural heritage. So that's really awesome. So let me ask you this then about PulseFly. What are the basic functions behind PulseFly?
It's a PulseFly, and they're
I'm sorry.
yeah, oh yeah, it's major functionality to really be automated market making, so you can actually expect something very similar to number of swap services out there, like SushiSwap. and PancakeSwap and others. The project has its own governance and their team working behind that, and we're invite them later to elaborate more on what's going on.
Awesome. That's great to hear. So is there any news on banana clips possibly?
We're invite the banana clips team later as well. There has been going on a lot of active development, and I think a tutorial or news has been posted
Cool.
earlier as well. So we expect something to happen really soon.
Cool. So what is, we talked about NFTs before, specifically around charities and with CCCV. What is NFT for creators then, and how will it work specifically?
Yeah, so the CCTV team have been working with various content makers on, YouTube, Africa TV, and a lot of these streaming services. And one of the things that these content creators have really been ingeniously using NFT is they've been selling NFT, and the NFT is tied to a specific content that they can download. Now, one streamer started selling it for $10, but because there was a limited number of run, the person who bought it watched the stream and then decided to resell it. And now, it's selling for something like $150. But here's the catch. Traditionally NFTs, if you were to buy something and then resell it, the original creator didn't receive anything. That was the first transaction. But what CCTV team did was they created a mechanism where if the viewer watched it, resold it, the content creator actually got a really high percentage, something like 90% royalty back to them. So as the value increased, the content creator got royalties that increase along with that, right? So content creators are really happy with this type of service because there's nothing like that out there. If in the old days, I would say if I bought a VHS tape movie and I sold it to you, the original content creator would never get anything. But from this NFT, the content creator will actually get royalties from future sales of that NFT, which is, I think, awesome. And as far as monetization for the project, we do encourage certain projects that are really compelling to apply to the incubation fund, and you can apply as an NFT creator as well.
That's awesome to hear. So let me ask you this then. We've had massive amounts of fantastic news over the last 5 months that we've been in 2022. And I think what's extremely exciting for Ergo investors was the listing on Coinbase and the listing on crypto.com. Now, one of the committee members asked about two other exchanges specifically. So are exchanges like Kraken and FTX, and if you're not familiar with what FTX is, it's the former Blockfolio. It's the new version of Blockfolio. So on the radar, are they on the radar for listing Ergo?
Yeah, we're looking at FTX, and I think we've looked at Kraken before, but we're very careful because every exchange takes up a lot of resources, a lot of time. It also dilutes volume in other exchanges, and that causes problems for us in existing exchanges if the volumes volumes dip and so forth. So it's not something that we're trying to just list on every exchange because it really doesn't make sense. I think it has to be strategic, and there's got to be some value in value for listing in that exchange. Coinbase, obviously the value of US market, but all the other value was that it's sort of a mark of a good crypto project that that somebody like Coinbase did the due diligence and listed us.
Absolutely, without question. So we talked about an IPO before, Blocko's IPO. So let me ask you this then about the purpose. So what is the purpose of an IPO? So will resources be used to expand the Argo ecosystem? What will be done with the funds raised specifically?
Well, I just want to make sure that people understand that Blocko and Ergo are two separate companies. Okay, the relationship is that yes, I think originally that the Argo was born out of Blocko's team to create that platform, and Blocko was the strategic technical partner for Ergo, and that's how it happened. And today, Blocko going to IPO. Blocko is a traditional brick and mortar company, development shop with its own fund raised in a traditional equity sense. And those VCs and investors are looking to exit, and that's how they exit with an IPO. From a Blocko's perspective, we want to use the funds to scale what we've done so far, and to use to hire additional resources, expand to other markets, and yeah, and I think the funds will be definitely used to expand Ergo's technical capabilities, because that just makes sense as Blocko adds solutions and services onto the Ergo platform, right? So the IPO, while the cash injection is not going to go to the Ergo Foundation, but I think from technical standpoint, Blocko is looking to invest in more development and more solutions that leverage the Ergo platform.
Absolutely. So let me ask you this last question, and I really appreciate both of you for your transparency in every AMA. By the way, I wanted to bring that up as well. So what is the relation between GenPay and security tokens, for example?
So I kind of touched upon this a little earlier, is that GenPay is going to be the wallet for dApps, where you can do transactions, send, receive, purchase, various solutions, products, like a wallet, right? But the security tokens, we will have Argo Gem as a stable token on the GenPay platform, so that it could be traded for that. But there's a definite token model for companies wanting to be able to trade for or swap to the Ergo Gem, right? Because there's got to be some deposits and liquidity that they need to provide in order to make sure that there's enough to cover what their tokens can generate. But what makes a security token is up to the customer, right? So if they use Silvermine to create a token, and they decide that they have the necessary licenses and regulatory compliance met, that they want to put it on a swap service with liquidity, that is considered a security token, and that's what that particular customer would use the tokens for. From a Blocko or Ergo perspective, we don't have control over that, meaning that we're not providing any license services or services that make it a security token. When the token is actually minted, it's just a token. And, whether you want to use it for utility, whether you have the right license to make it a security token, it's up to the customer. But the part that is important here is that Blocko created a token as a service, a SaaS service, to mint tokens easily with few clicks, right? So instead of the traditional way of doing it, a lot of customers can now mint tokens for their various use, mint multiple tokens for their use, but having it being a security token, that's up to the customer and what they do with it.
Absolutely. Thank you for explaining that. And I want to say again, thank you both for your time answering these questions thoroughly and concisely. The community really appreciates it, and I really appreciate it, especially in these dark times in this market. It's very important to have that formality and that ability to communicate with the community in a way that allows them to understand the project, its developments, and what actually is going on behind the scenes, that they're informed as investors. So I want to say thank you for both of you again. And I want to just ask one last question. Is there any closing thoughts that you both want to convey before we end this AMA?
Juan, you want to go first?
Yeah, we have been around this whole crypto scene for years now, and we will continue to build and develop. So stay with us and be safe.
Awesome.
Yeah, you know, these dips in the market, we've seen it before. You know, you know, I always say, be very careful on what you invest and how you invest. And you know, there's a lot of resources out there that you can educate yourself. And I think that's definitely, if you're going to be in the crypto market, you have to be educated in what's going on, not just follow what everyone else is doing, and not buy when a token has pumped 800% and expect another 1,000% after that. It's not going to happen. And the other thing is that, you know, we have a lot of things going on, and I know that there's times of period where, you know, I get really distracted with Blocko, and I'm not in the Telegram channels, and I try to be, because I mean, I get called in there. And just know that, you know, we're not going dark. We're just heads down, making things happen, right? And, you know, deals happen, they're announced, and then those deals need to be worked on so that they become the fruition, right? So, you know, I just ask the community to be a little bit more lenient, that, hey, you know, it's when Jay announces something good, he's, you know, everyone's working, but when he's not, when he's quiet, then he must have left the project. No, it's not that. You know, we're working, you know, diligently, and, you know, a lot of these deals take a lot of time. And there's some exciting things coming, and I'm very excited about the rest of 2022. By the way, next week I'll be in Miami in the permissionless conference.
Awesome.
So May 17th through 19th, I think. So find me. I'll be down there.
Awesome. And I want to also build on that as well, about the communication, that I'm in an Argo content room with both of these gentlemen, and we speak every day. So I want to also attest that these two gentlemen here that do these AMAs, they are working extremely hard. The activity in the Ergo content room and discussions thereof, it's happening every day. It's not like this is like what Jay said, that, you know, people leaving the project. No, we're in contact every single day. This is actually how these AMAs happen, and how we coordinate article releases. So I want to make that, I want to emphasize that point, and I want to say also, we are going to do live stream AMAs as well. So we're going to more focus on the formality of community as well, so you can watch us live. And I'm really looking forward to having those, and seeing what happens behind the scenes in 2022 come to fruition. So both of you, thank you so much for your time.
Oh, thank you, Corey, as always.
Absolutely.